first panel for this festival is Nigerian Entrepreneurs and Careers, Navigating Tough Economies, Driving Innovation, and Embracing Inclusion. Leading this conversation as moderator today is my personal coach and lead coach. She's also LinkedIn top voice at IBG Academy. Please welcome Dr. Glory Edozien as she comes up over there. She's a powerful woman who can be anything she wants to be and has decided indeed to be everything she can be. Joining Dr. Glory on stage right now is the Group Head Partnerships and Integrations at Wakanow. Please welcome Bukola Olatunji. Appreciate her with a festival applause. Woo! Welcome, Bukola. Delighted to have you here with us. Joining up on this panel also is Ifeoluwa Dare-Johnson. She is the founder and CEO Healthtracka. And I'm happy with this green going up on stage this morning, very fresh and all. But you are all women, we know. Welcome, Ife. Thank you so much for honoring us with your presence. The country manager, Nigeria, at William Grant & Sons has been here, and she's ready to bring her expertise to the stage. Please welcome Frances Nwosa as she joins up on this panel, and she can come up right there. Thank you, Frances. All those around her seats, please make some noise. You have to know your tribe now. You have to know your tribe, yes. Thank you so much. And I'll hand the microphone over to Madam Moderator for the next 40 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so my name is Dr. Gloria Edozien, like I was introduced earlier. Joyce, thank you for that amazing introduction. This is going to be a very interesting panel. Why is it going to be an interesting panel? Because we are going to be discussing things that all of us are facing. Who here is aware that there are tough economic challenges around all of us? If you are aware, please raise your hand. Okay. But who knows that even when the road gets tough, the tough gets tougher, right? And that's what we're going to be discussing today. And I have an amazing panel who we're going to be discussing these issues with. So this panel, we're going to be looking at Nigerian entrepreneurs and careers, navigating tough economies, driving innovation, and embracing inclusion. So please, a round of applause, first of all, for my distinguished panel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm going to start. We've been having great conversations behind the stage. We've already met, and these are some amazing ladies. My first question is, everybody is talking about tough economic challenges, right? But then I feel, and we've seen, history has also shown that when economies get tough, some people are actually able to lead change and actually come out on the other end. So I want to ask you, as career women, as business owners, as C-suite personnel, what are some of the ways you are circumventing these tough economic challenges through innovation? And I'll start with Bukola first, and we'll go down that way.
Okay. It's good to be here. For me, I would say that, and I'll just take my work journey as an example, right? We all know what is going on with FX. We know what is going on in Nigeria, and it's not limited to Nigeria alone. So I'd say that irrespective of what is going on, I have a saying that resonates with me every time, and it's whatever your hand finds to do, do it well. So irrespective of you being a career person and you're going through some issues, or you're an entrepreneur and you're struggling in your business, and you don't even have the startup capital or anything, still consciously want to thrive, you must have it at the back of your mind that irrespective of the struggles, you want to win. And I'll take it as an example. I lead partnerships and integrations for Africa's leading travel technology company, Wakanow.com. And I'll tell you that there are different struggles that I've had, working in that organization. And one of it is I've never worked in a travel organization. And when I got the job, I said to myself, how am I going to navigate through such an organization where everybody's coming from an airline space? We're a travel technology company, so it means that we work with a lot of airlines. And throughout my journey, I've always worked in technology. I've, done things that are different. How do I navigate being in the travel industry? How do I work with people who have been in this career journey for years? And there's something at the back of my mind that I can always win at everything that I want to do. And I'll go back to joining Wakanow as Partnerships and Integrations Associate. When I came into the organization, I was clueless. Not because I didn't know what to do or what the role entailed, because I took that job. But I was unsure of what the expectations was for me. And one of the questions that I asked my line manager at that time, who happens to be our CEO, Wakanow Nigeria, Denike Macaulay, was, what are your expectations of me? I see that there's so much happening for the business. I see that the reason why I was hired for this role is to be able to drive this, is to be able to drive partnerships, increase inventory. I see that there's so many partnerships, and I know that everything is in order of priority. How am I going to thrive here? What are your expectations for me? And she says, you're right. Everything is in order of priority. But what I want is for us to increase our inventory by this. I said, at least I have a direction. And I went back and I said, okay, these are the things I'm going to do. Teamwork, who am I going to talk to in the business that understands the travel industry more than I do? And I went on to start asking a lot of questions. I, continued to push. I did a lot of back-end work to ensure that I met up with that goal. So yes, there would always be struggles as entrepreneurs. There would always be struggles as career women or even men in organizations. But you must have it at the back of your mind that you need to thrive regardless. So, yeah.
Fantastic. I love that. There's this saying that the quality of your life is based on the kinds of questions you ask. And you ask the right question. Yes, we have so many things to achieve, but what is priority? What does success look like for me? So what about yourself, Ifeoluwa? So for you, obviously with Healthtracka, a tech device, leading innovation, leading change in the health sector, what are some of the challenges you are facing and how are you using innovation to solve it?
Thank you so much, everyone. And definitely great to be here. Just to address the first question you asked about, how do you navigate this economy? I think one of the great things that happens in such situation is that opportunities preparation meets opportunities. So it means that people who typically would have to go abroad for some services, for some products, even skincare, or healthcare, right? Or, you want to import things, you want to travel more. Now, because there's FX issues, then everybody's forced to look inwards. So what do you have that you can offer people who now do not have a choice than to actually begin to look at local options? And I think that's how to start to think about, these are these are challenges, but how do I turn it into an opportunity? So I always say that, for people who run businesses here, that cloud services are, they've tripled because of the FX situation. If you're using Google for your emails, if you're using AWS or any of these guys, or even email marketing, you're using MailChimp. Because of how much dollar costs now, it makes almost no sense to keep doing that. But then there's a company, who recently entered Nigeria and they're charging us in Naira and it's way more affordable. Guess what? Their adoption rates increased and the user acquisition increased significantly. Same thing with a lot of skincare products as well. And I think that's how, even at Healthtracka, we're thinking about it. So we offer healthcare services. Typically, the premium, our premium customers, we typically have to, before now, prove our value to them, But now it is clear that we're cheaper than wherever, and we still give you the same quality services, So you would come in and obviously get the same service that you're probably going out to, traveling abroad to go get, and you can get it internally. So right now within my team, our question is, how do we ensure that when the services that people would typically go abroad to pay for or pay FX to pay for, we're offering better service, better value here, and we get to keep that money internally. And I think even as a country, and that's how we need to be thinking about it for medications. Can we have manufacturing? Can we expand our capacity so that, and can we start to source our raw materials locally as well? And then it gives us, we're able to turn that challenge into an opportunity. And hopefully, a lot of people get rich through that as well.
Fantastic. That's a great example there. Great example. So I want to come to you next, Frances. They've given examples around sort of either resilience, innovation. What has been your experience navigating these economic times?
Okay, so I would, give real life examples. Yeah. So our brands are super premium luxury brands. So you will think that, in this situation, the rich will always spend, right? People will buy more, so you think you're immune. But the situation now is even the rich people are asking you, can I buy on credit? That's what is happening. It's hitting everyone. Everyone is. So Nigerians, we're happy people, we celebrate, we party, and we are in that lifestyle space. And so we benefit from the fact that Nigerians are happy people, we're status-driven and all. But with the whole economic situation, you find that whereas where a group of guys will sit and, buy 4 bottles, for example, they're buying one now and just respect themselves and go home, And then you just see that you had an expectation for the year and your numbers are dropping. So yes, resilience is great, but the first thing is you need to take a step back and look at your long-term strategy. And I will try to relate this not just to my company as a multinational, but also for small businesses as well. Sometimes people open up businesses and it's just, nobody's looking at where do I see myself in 10 years? Where do I see myself in 20 years? Because when you have that long-term vision and the long-term strategy, then you begin to see, okay, I can't give up at this point, right? I know the price of my products in 2022, for example, and what it is now. Even myself, my heart beats sometimes when I see the price, okay? So what we've done is take a step back and then relook, your business model. This is also the time where flexibility is important, where data and trends are very important. So what is happening now? With the economic situation, what are people doing now? What are they drinking? Or what are they eating? If it's a small business that you have, so how can I stay the course? What can I continue to do? What can I leverage more within my portfolio? If you have a few brands, is there one of them that I can strategically push at this point, to stay the course until things get better while finding out, that's when you need to relook strategy. So flexibility is very important. In 2020 during COVID, there were a few companies that people were like, now wow. But I really admired. So you had one that I wouldn't mention names, but you probably know, that went from sodas and started making hand sanitizers. And for me, it was just that flexibility. And I believe it's a big part of their portfolio now. So for us, it's what's happening during this time? How much data? What can I review? What can I relook within my business? What can I drive? What is staying strong at this point? What are people doing? And how can I still be of value to them? But one thing is never compromise on your quality. Because when you compromise on your quality, even if they complain today, when things get better, they will go to the guy that has quality. So those are a few of the things that we try to do. And I feel like from a big business or a small business, it's all about being flexible, taking a step back, relooking your short-term, medium-term, long-term strategy, understanding how you can navigate it, how you can, at a point, we had to say with a distributor, let's wait on sales because a lot of it was impacted by Forex. You price up on Friday. On Tuesday, it has gone up. That price up has turned to negative, right? So you need to take a step back and look and see what you can do to drive it in the long term.
What I'm getting from these three responses is that even in times of tough economic challenges, you cannot bury your head in the sand. You actually have to be active out there looking at where are the opportunities. Yes, things are tough, but maybe there are new opportunities that are opening up because of the changes in the market. We have to be resilient and we also have to be flexible. But we all know that when things get tough, sometimes the last thing, everybody's thinking about profitability. And the last thing becomes sustainability and inclusion. So why is it important now for us to make sure that women are included? And let me start from the middle. Let me go to Ife.
I really like this because data actually points out that women are better fund managers anyway, right? So this is literally the best time to have women manage whatever business or capital that you have to make more efficient. And I was, still did a bit of analysis recently and said, in the past decade or more, less than 3% of venture capital went to women. But guess what? Women have always returned more money in terms of, return of capital and profit to their shareholders than the other gender. So it's a wise decision to actually invest more in women, right? And then on the other end is women do more with less money, right? So when you think about it,
I thought I would hear a round of applause. I thought I would hear a round of applause to that.
I mean, and you all know this. Women do more with less money. So at the end of the day, it is not, oh, should we include women? You better include women for your own good, right? So I would say, without mincing words, that women need to be included for the sake of economic growth, right? Women being included is for the sake of economic growth. You are doing yourself a disservice as a business, as whatever, if you do not have women at the affairs. And I'm not saying bring women to be junior, whatever. Get women to be especially qualified women, and we have lots and lots of them, right, to be part of your management team, and you will be surprised how better your business will perform.
Yeah. Fantastic, I love that. So including women is actually a business imperative. It's not a favor. Frances, what are your thoughts?
So I believe God created men and women differently, right? And there are different strengths that men have and strengths that women have, right? So including is all about balancing or leveraging the diversity of thought, the diversity of ideas and all. You would say, for example, that men are more logical, for example, sometimes, but people would say women are more emotional. You would say, oh, men are more aggressive. There are different strengths. And it's not necessarily, what I've found is just a man can have as much strength as a woman has, and a woman can have as much strength as a man has, depending on what that area is. For me, if everybody was treated the same way, it would be boring, right? And so it's important to have women and to include people who would come with different thought processes, different perspectives, different ideas, because in that way you drive better creativity, productivity. I think I was reading somewhere that companies that are more inclusive actually have more productivity, or for the ones with better DE&I diversity agenda, are 35% more likely to succeed versus companies without. So it's in the best interest of it. Just imagine a room filled with only men, right? And they're like, we have to do it like this. It has to be like this. Everybody's thinking one way or maybe not. But then a woman comes in, and there's a different kind of perspective that comes into that train of thought. And then imagine that you have 3-4 women coming in. I have different experiences and backgrounds. You have different experiences and backgrounds. And when we bring this together on the table, there's just so much more potential and so much more that can be achieved when you include women with the wealth of experience and ideas and maybe the different way that they see life that they can bring not only to the organization, but even to innovation, product development, marketing, whatever area it is, you will get an enriched bank of thoughts and ideas that can only just mean that you go bigger and you deliver bigger.
So what I'm actually hearing you say is that the more diverse the pot is, the sweeter the stew.
Yes.
Love it. Love it.
Okay, I think that everyone on this panel has said it all, but I'll still touch more. You know the saying that we had growing up, that what a man can do, a woman can do even better. It's not a joke. We're seeing it in today's world. And I'll tell you for the fact that women should be included in every sphere, whether as an entrepreneur, whether as a food business or as a company. In my company, 70% of leaders are women. 3 out of our CEOs.
Another round of applause for Wakanow, please.
3 out of our CEOs, two of them are women, and we're not. It's not that purpose thing to ensure that women are actually included. Yes, maybe there's a part of that, but it just shows that we go over and beyond. We're very detailed in all our doings. We ensure that we're very careful. We bring the juice to everything that we do. And she talked about management, and I would say that I'll give you an example. I can, regardless of my position, I can go to any length to ensure that I get anything done, regardless of how dirty I get. And that thing that I mentioned at the beginning, that what your hand finds to do it well, regardless of whether it's your business or another man's business, it should always resonate with you at all times. My company sponsored an event. I'm just going to not mention that event. But then we realized that what we had put in, it wasn't looking like we were going to make that investment back. But when we were doing the whole, back work, we thought it was going to be a very, very profitable business at the beginning. We thought we were going to start to see the number. We had looked at the data from previous years, and we're like, it's a no-brainer that we're going to succeed at this. And so we put in a very huge investment into that business. And then realized that it wasn't giving us what we needed to do. And voila, I had to lead that project. And at the time, I had just joined the business. And who wants to be a part of a failed, not that failure is bad, but I didn't need that for my portfolio at the beginning of my work journey in that company. And so I said to myself, you know what, we have to re-strategize, because we must make that money. I was determined, even when we were not seeing that we were going to make that money, I said we have to make that money. And I said, you know what, it was getting close to the end of the whole sponsorship period, and I said, it was the final day of the event, so it meant that we needed to take, it was not the final day, there was a period for the entire sponsorship. And we had expected to make money. It's not at the last moment that you will now start making your investments. We wanted to see it as a journey, month on month. You know how you calculate your month-on-month growth? Are we seeing it? We're not seeing it. Is it at the end that we're going to see it? I said, well, we must see it too. Mm-hmm. And I said, there was a budget where we had to bring in X number of people. We had to ensure that we had to put them in a hotel. I said, you know what, we're going to cut all the budgets. Today, my company has the privilege of giving us lunch at work. So when we go out for events, we always have the privilege of eating out. I said, we will not eat out. We will pack lunch from the office, and everybody will eat that lunch with love. We will eat it, and we would not stay in a hotel. We would go with Uber. Yes, the proximity for a lot of people that are not living within the vicinity may not be easy, but that is my own initiative. And I needed to ensure that budget that I could be nonchalant about it, that we put in the money. It's not my business. We didn't make it. I was not part of the people that said we should put in that money, so I could have been very nonchalant. But I said, no, we must make at least, even if we don't make more than that investment, we'll at least make that investment that we put in. And I said, okay, we will do all of these things. We will not stay in a hotel. We will all rough it together. On Christmas Day, we will come in an Uber. And that Uber, you will not have the luxury of taking Uber by yourself alone. You will merge per location. If you are going to the mainland, you will follow this person. And I'm telling you, that was how we reduced cost. Because imagine spending a budget on something that you're not making money from. And then you're now saying maybe food budget and location budget and transportation budget was X amount of money. So imagine now adding that to the budget. How are you going to make the money? And I said, we'll make this money. And we started cutting costs. We started cutting costs here and there. Let's be innovative. You go here. Let's bring in this person. And to be fair, we actually did make our money. We did make that capital. We didn't make as much as we expected to make, but we made, and I'm saying this because women consciously think, I think we're homemakers, my dad would say growing up that, because I grew up with boys, my dad would say, honestly, if I want to wash my car, give it to Bukola. It's not to make my brother, because I would do it with every detail and every passion. Men will just, not that men don't have their part, they have their strengths, and I would say it for a fact that we've seen amazing things that men are doing today, but there's just this attention to detail. There's this pride of owning something, and we like to own it. We like to own it with our position, with whatever you do. And I think, and I'm just saying this to everyone here, regardless of you owning your business and the struggles, or you being in a work environment, that passion should always go first. So it's not about it being your business, because one day remember that you would own your business. And it is what you sow, you would reap. That thing exists today. And beyond that, don't you like to see things grow under your portfolio? I enjoy it. There are times that people say, are you part of the management team of this company? But we like to do everything. And that's the thing that I take back to my even if it takes me longer hours to do this thing, I will put in the passion, the dedication, the results to ensure that it's driven. And I think that is what resonates with every of our leaders today. And let me just say this before I end. I didn't know that I was going to be speaking here. It was supposed to be our CEO, Wakanow Nigeria, Adenike Macaulay, that was to have this. And she said, you know what, Bukola, I'm going to allow you start to speak. I've seen a lot that you've done, and I believe that you have the capacity to start to do these things. And I'm like, no, they gave it to you, so please own it. Do you understand? And she says, oh no, I actually want you to do it. And I'm telling you that we consciously think about giving people that opportunity, even as women. Are you allowing other women thrive in your space? And she says, I believe that you can do it. Not because she had other things, but because she wanted that platform where we could also thrive. I have done a lot of speaking engagements, and now I need to see women, even men in the business, start to speak so that you start to build your own portfolio and people know that this is what you're doing. So yes, it starts from all of us, and it starts from within. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. Really, really practical examples. And it actually ties in very neatly into my next question. So we've all said that, yes, we should include women, but I want you to put your money where your mouth is and tell us, what initiatives have you undertaken in your organization and your career to include women? And I'll start with Frances.
Okay, so where I am now, and I think it comes all the way back. So many years ago, I used to work with another organization, and I was leading DE&I. So DE&I I have a sales background, business development. And the company asked me to lead DE&I. At the time, it was called DE&I for sales. And of course, you know sales is mostly men, right? So we had to start with female representation. And it starts with recruitment. So what are the opportunities that we have to get more women to apply for the roles? How do we support them to be there? At some point, the company was very intentional about that. And we got to a point where at some point we're like, there were now more women in sales than there were men, and it was just, and then getting to the next level, it was that. There's also the whole mentorship thing. So right now, in my organization, it's a small team. However, the push was we wanted to have at least 50-50 representation. Right? So we have that, thankfully. It was intentionally done. But it's also the fact that we're building capability and building the capacity of these women. So I have a few of these women in my team that we mentor, coaching. And I think it's also about genuine care. So do you really intentionally care about women? Do you really want them to grow? Right? So I have a few of them. I remember there was a role that was open, and it was a regional role seated in Nigeria. And there was the idea to recruit somebody. And kind of my head was like, there's a woman here who's been doing very well at this job. Why are we going outside to look for someone? So it was a lot of back and forth, back and forth. But I was like, this person can do it. Oh, but the background, I'm like, nobody started as this. You got entrusted. I was not a country manager before I became this country manager. But someone believed that with the experiences and my potential, I could do it and gave it to me. So why can't you give this person the opportunity to rise up to this, and then we will build and support and train till this person can deliver. Eventually, with all the back and forth, we got her into the role, and she was brilliant at the job. She now has another opportunity where she's going to do something even bigger now, and I'm like, well done, your money is now plenty, you know. But that's encouraging. I mean, on the personal side, I started doing some female empowerment from my personal resources. To say, I don't have a lot, but every woman, it feels good to be able to count your own 500 naira, your own 2,000 naira. What can you do? And I gathered a few of them. So I have a target every year of the number of women that I want to empower. And it's personal, so I'm not, and I pray, I ask God to direct me to that woman who will use it well and who will build. And I ask the questions, what can you do? What do we need to do? What business? What are you good at? What will you thrive? And then together we invest in it, right? And they start slowly, and they start doing the business. Of course, we've had people that they ate inside the capital. It was back to square one. It happens, right? But the fulfillment is finding those who now are doing a job and able to do 50,000, 100,000 naira a month contribution coming from, I don't have 1,000 naira or 500 naira to buy a recharge card. So it's the small ways that we can impact, you know, people. In the beginning, I was doing it really anonymously, and it was within my, I'm hoping none of them is here and it doesn't get far, but within my alumni, my secondary school alumni. And I was just like, these women were in school with me. You know, how is it, you know, life has a way, life is funny. And I was doing it anonymously. I would, chairman, this person, what do they need? Okay, I will support with this. They shouldn't know. But seeing them now doing their own thing, one person creates stuff that she sells, is part of that fulfillment that you're helping a fellow woman thrive.
Amazing.
You're helping a fellow woman get better. So whether it's in the workplace or it's in the your personal space, I know my purpose, and I know, and I try to live my purpose, which is to positively impact the lives of people as much as I can. And then when I leave, I want to leave that legacy of the girl who put smiles on people's faces.
Amazing.
And so for me, it's how can I do it everywhere that I am? It's not easy. This economy is now hard, but we will keep trying, whether it's in the workplace or it's in our personal lives.
Thank you. I think that's a great example of allyship as well as personal empowerment. So ladies, we can see the big clock that is ticking down in front of us. So I want us to be very mindful of time. So I'm going to restrict us to 1 minute per response. So if I want to come to you, and if you can give us your examples, 1 minute, please.
Yes, so, and we started our conversation behind the clock. So this year, in fact, since the past 2 years, we've been very big at Healthtracka on women's health. And of course, it started with, for people who don't know what we do, we are a health and technology business that ensures that people have access to preventive medical diagnostics, and you can order basic lab tests on mobile app, on our apps, basically. And you get it done at home. So it was during that journey that we realized that women are not doing their cervical cancer screenings, and it's one of the leading causes of cervical, of cancer-related death, right? And it is uncomfortable to do those screenings.
Very uncomfortable.
For women here, if you have done any of the pap smear, you know what I'm talking about, the speculum, you know, it's just, there's not as much dignity.
Exactly.
And it was during that we asked ourselves, there has to be a better way to do this. There has to be a better way. But what has happened in the past is women's health has been underfunded, under-researched, and underestimated. You literally do not have as much research and funding going into women's health. We have more gynecologists. Women are told that they are chronic complainers when you complain, right? Women are 25% more in poor health than men, right? But yet, nobody is talking about this. So what did we do? We launched an HPV self-sampling kit that allows women to actually screen and take the sample by themselves. That way, you do not need to go into an hospital.
That deserves a round of applause. That deserves a huge round of applause.
And with that kit, it's almost like a tampon. You basically can, in 1 minute, go into the bathroom, insert it, 5 clicks, withdraw it, and that's it. We can pick it up and run the analysis in the lab. And that shortens it makes everything different. And what we've seen, we've screened thousands of women already. We've gone into like the really, really rural part in Kaduna, where women do not even speak the regular Hausa language, but then they are able to use the kits, right? And then we are able to link them to treatment and care afterwards. And I think that's, at the end of the day, what makes us really, really excited that we are actually changing the narrative and helping women get the health care that they need as early as possible, and hopefully even save some lives as well.
Fantastic. Amazing example. Amazing example. So, Bukola, I'm going to change the question because we have to wrap up. So my question to you is advice. So we've spoken about how we have been able to be innovative, how we're driving innovation, how we're being resilient. But what is your advice to everyone in this room and everyone watching on social media? How can career professionals and entrepreneurs remain resilient in these tough economic times, as well as emphasize inclusion?
Thank you for that question. For me, my advice to everyone would be that keep going. I wouldn't say it wouldn't get tough. So I'll just say that regardless of whatever hurdle or whatever you see in front of you, whether it's tough times, it gets better, with determination, with that mindset that you have a goal. I think first is have a goal and see to it that irrespective of how long it takes you, keep going at it. And you would certainly get there. Ensure that times have changed. Ensure that you leverage. There's a saying that your network is your net worth. So leverage on it. Don't take social media as just a fun place. People grow real life businesses there. People showcase amazing things. Even the content creators that you see today are channeling their energies towards, aside from it being fun, ensuring that they get their goals out of it. So irrespective of what you're doing, ensure that you join communities. And these things are not paid for. Whether it's one that is done by your church or your mosque or your company, ensure that you leverage and take as much as you can. We say one word at Wakanow, we take everything. We take everything. And we're very intentional about that. Because I'm going to leverage this opportunity of being here today. I'm going to connect with the women here. What are you doing with your connection? What are you doing on social media? What are you doing in your church? What are you doing in your mosque today? What are you doing in your school? How are you connecting? There's so many people out there. There are people that have co-founders today that just started from social media or just started from the work environment. Are you paying attention? Are you listening? Are you being able to profess solutions? So I'm just going to stop there. That, take that at the back of your mind and leverage as much as possible to, get what you want, and you'll get there. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. So I'll go to Frances. Frances, literally 30 seconds.
Okay, I will keep it very brief, but I'll say start with where you are and tell yourself, I'm doing well. So the first thing, I am doing well. And
Can
then
we
where
practice
you are,
that? Can we all say out loud, I am doing well?
you are doing well.
Yes.
And then the next thing, just focus to thrive where you are. I don't want to go through scriptures, but imagine David, every point where, Joseph, even in the prison, he was thriving and became the head of prisoners. Imagine when you thrive. So wherever you are, how can I thrive, right? You are doing well, thrive. Then the third thing for me, it's all in the mind. A positive mindset. If you say you can, you can. If you say you can't, you can't. It's not going to be easy because there are times when you will doubt yourself, but I've learned something about the law of attraction. And you attract to yourself what they say what you think or what you are, right? So just that mindset, I can do it. It's not going to be easy, but when you have that positive mindset, it opens your eyes to see opportunities versus when you're like, you don't be. So for me, it's those three things. You're doing well, thrive where you are, wherever you are right now. How can I be the best at it? If I'm sweeping, how can I sweep all the dust away? I'm just the best at what I'm doing. And then I need to keep my mindset positive. I can do it.
Fantastic. Please go ahead, Ife.
I know our time is up. I think for me, it is just one thing. It is that you already have all that it takes. So please, do not be afraid to reinvent yourself. You're not a tree, you can move. You literally can reinvent yourself. You do not like where you are right now, you have the ability to change that. You do not owe anybody. Nobody needs to give you permission. It has to be you. And you can reinvent. If you want to be a medical doctor today, you can go back to school. If you want to be, I don't know what that is, but literally, you can reinvent yourself. You can change your career. If you admire me, if you admire anyone here, it is as simple as saying, what did this person do? Can I do it? And then that's it. You are on that journey. So please, you owe nobody any permission to reinvent yourself. You only have to decide and then go do that you know you have the capacity to do.
Love it. So if you believe you can, then you can. Love it. When you were saying if you're not a tree, move. I was saying hope somebody doesn't see that as their cue to go to Canada. But let's move on. Okay, so I think we have time for 2 questions. I've been told. Does anybody have any question for my panel?
First and foremost, I'd like to say a very big thank you to the panel, the organizers, Anita, for the excellent insights. Okay, very well done. Please can we give them a round of applause? Thank you very much. It's not so much a question I have, it's just a word of encouragement. And that is to say that women around here and beyond need to look seriously at mentors and mentoring. Okay, because you may have some ideas, but those ideas are not necessarily fully formed. So you need somebody who can guide you. Just be proactive about it. And we have very many successful Nigerian women doing brilliant work globally. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is one. We have several others. And they don't have to be Nigerians. Use social media. Go on to LinkedIn. There are people there. By the way, you need to update your profile as well on social media. You know, look at the space and the area in which you want to develop. Look for role models around there, and it works. Okay, you don't need to look too far. As I said, women are doing fabulous things, and they'll continue to do that. And some of those are in this room. So go for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Fantastic call for mentorship there. There's somebody else. Okay. How do we get a mic to her, please? Okay, there's one behind you coming. Afternoon, yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amaka Chibuzo Obi. I run an organization called Wives Roundtable. So my question is this. So we've talked so much about including women. I work with women a lot. My job for the past 11 years has been around helping women live their best lives, being the best versions of themselves. Now, when we talk about including women, I have seen many women, brilliant women, competent women, whose organization want to include them, but they run away. They shy away. They are filled with so much fear and doubt, and that feeling of, would I be able to deliver if I get into that position? It's not news that a lot of us women did not have the tools. We were not equipped growing up as girls, especially those of us who grew up in the 80s and early 90s. We were not really equipped to be our own person, right? So we see many women who have this fear of being out there in the limelight. You talk about holding leadership positions and they run back because they believe that they would not be able to do it well. So my question to these amazing women who have done incredibly well in their various careers is this: how do you help these sort of women? Because I'm sure some of them are here who are more than capable of doing these things that we're talking about, but they've not, and I think it was Frances that mentioned the mind. They've not come to that place in their minds where they believe that they should even be included. So it's as if you're trying to drag them along, but they are not helping you, even in your own, what would I call it now? Your desire for them. So how are you helping as women who are already out there doing these things to let these women know that they can really do it, and beyond just telling them that they can? Because you finish saying that they can and they are piped. They are like, yes, yes, I can. But once they move out of that your space, they're like, I beg, my life and your life is not the same. Just leave me where I am, you know? So how do you do that rewiring and re-engineering where they come to believe that that space, that table actually is theirs for the taking? Thank
Fantastic.
you.
That's a fantastic question. Yes.
Okay, so I'll just answer your question. Thank you for that amazing question, by the way. And I'll just say it's as simple as ABC. There's one thing to include women, and there's one thing to be intentional about ensuring that they grow. You see a rock star, and you see that that rock star is struggling. How do you do it? How do you intentionally put them at the forefront to ensure, because there are lots of people that are camera shy. There are loads of people that they don't want to answer questions. They'd rather write down the questions for somebody else to ask that question. Someone came to me with a brilliant idea. The person is an executive, but I was very shocked at the amazing idea that he had, and I knew that it was going to transform the business. And I think that it also comes from us, because what I would have easily done is to put him aside or she aside and then take on that win by myself and then drive it. But that's not how to do it. How do you ensure that you position them to go to the forefront and that they can do it? Now, we run an open door policy at wakanow.com. And that means that you can go to the top level. You can go to the group CEO as an executive. You can go to the CEO. You can come to heads of departments. It's that open. We relate with all of these people. How do you ensure? Because somebody came to me with an idea that, how can we do that? They'd be wanting to talk to the CEO about something that, but you know, she feels that I should be able to go on behalf of them to say it. I said, you know what you're going to do? You're going to walk into that door. I'm watching here. And you're going to go there and you can do it. So we need to consciously tell them that they can. You need to handhold them, whether it's trainings that they need. Stuff like this. I didn't think I wanted to come and sit here today, but there was that intentionality to see that there's a rock star, or if they see me as a rock star, how do you grow that rock star? How do you position that rock star? How do you give that rock star that platform to thrive? So it's not about just including women or including men or running an inclusive system. It's about intentionality to see that there are people that can get here. And that's why we do a lot of career changes in Wakanow. Because I come in as an IT person or a product person does not mean that I will continue to be in product. When I see your strengths in commercial, when I see your strength there, I'm going to move you. So your contract is not fixed, and they'll tell you from the beginning that your title today might change tomorrow. I came in as senior product manager. Within a month, my role changed as head of partnerships and integrations. So when you see something, you water that person. When you see the opportunity there, you invest in that person. And it's about the investment and not just inclusion. Thank you.
Love it. So not just support people, but also invest in them. We'll take Frances and then we'll come to Ife.
Okay, so I'll give two examples. Within the organization, there's a program that we call the Shine Women's Program. It's organized externally, and I'm sure they'll be happy to do some stuff in Nigeria. So they sent out, they asked us to go out. It was offsite. It was somewhere in the UK, and we just had all these women from, first of all, someone like me, I've been there. Staying here is because one of my colleagues said, Frances, you're going to do this, and you're going to get up there. So I thrive when I do it, but I don't actively. I'm the person who likes to be backstage. When we had this conversation, everyone was vulnerable, talking about their fears and all, and you just realize I'm not alone. People have fears. People are worried. What if I'm not the best? And it might be past experiences and all, right? At the end of the day, based on our stories and all, everyone got a name. And I will share my name because it gives its accountability for me. And they told me, Frances, you need to tell your stories. There's a lot more you need to share. You need to be out there. And my other name became Beyonce. So my boss, when I'm just like, he says, your inner Beyonce, then I'm like, oh yeah, And then it just, so people need encouragement. But it's one step at a time, right? It's little wins that helps to build confidence. Because what you don't want is say, this today, my friend can't do it, and then they fail. And then they're like, I said it, that I could not do this. So it's little steps, little wins, then that encouragement, you see, I told you you could do this, and now you're here. And then there's a personal example. Someone reached out to a friend of mine, a former colleague of mine on LinkedIn, saying she was looking for a sales mentor. And quickly, and then he connected her to myself. At that point, she was having problems where she was as a salesperson, manager in a company. And she needed to leave. It was really toxic and cool. And then she started getting offers from LinkedIn, and she felt she couldn't do it. And I said to her, how many of us could do it when we started? I'll be here to support you. If you have questions, come to me, ask me, and all. And when she started, she was every second, at some point as I come, you start paying me for all this, But her doing that, she started learning. Today, she's the vice president for Sub-Sahara Africa, coming from an area sales manager role for another company, earning, and she's still young. She's young. She's probably just 30 now, and she's thriving. So now she feels more confident because she's had someone who supported her and told her every step of the way that she could do it.
Yeah, so I was going to say that one thing is there's power in representation. And representation means I can see this person who looks like me, who I can relate to, who is doing and breaking the barriers that we really like to break. And that's a call for people to put their story a bit out there more because you're not doing it for yourself, you're doing it for others. And hopefully that encourages someone to say, if I can do it, I think I can. I also, I know a couple of people had reached out to me to say, okay, people who look like you don't raise over $1 million in venture capital. How did you do it? And they come to me because in their minds, the media celebrates people who studied at Harvard, at Stanford, who then come back to the country and then raise millions of dollars, and especially as a woman. Right? But now when you see someone who looks like you studied here in Nigeria as well, then you feel like maybe I can do it. Maybe this idea I have, someone will look at me and look at my business and be confident to give me money. So I think that power of representation and also just being bold enough to share your story, not for yourself, but for other people, can break the barriers in people's minds. Thank you.
Let me hear a bigger round of applause for this my amazing panel. I told you at the beginning that this was going to be an interesting conversation, and I'm sure they did not disappoint. Please, a round of applause. A huge round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Okay, I think we're taking a group picture. Okay, so you have an announcement.
Yeah, sorry, I have an announcement. On behalf of Wakanow, we have a booth at the back. So we're doing a spin the wheel, and you can just get lucky to win a free ticket. Yeah.
Woo! Yes, we're clapping to that as well.
So I think when women are overwhelmed, the most important thing is to start to think about how can I take care of myself, right? Overwhelmed means people are pulling you in different directions. But then if you actually sit down and say, okay, how can I take care of myself? How can I prioritize the things that need to be done? And I think one of the things that women need to prioritize more is actually self-care, right? So emphasize self-care for yourself, create boundaries and priorities so that not everybody has access to you, asking you questions and asking you to do things that you may not have the capacity at this time to do. So I think when you start to feel overwhelmed, do these things and it will help to lighten the load.